Hey PHE family, this is Mrs Haskett. I am at the church that I work for, St. Margaret's Episcopal Church. I am the assistant music minister there. Now, I don't actually play the organ, but they have told me that I can come in here and record a video for you guys about how a pipe organ works. Now, this organ is not actually a pipe organ. We don't have the room in the church to install a full set of pipes, so this is an electronic organ. That means that all the sounds of the pipes are pre-recorded, and every time you hit a key, it plays that recording. So it sounds real, even though it's not. All right, guys, now I'm going to tell you about the 3 different keyboards of the organ. This organ has 3. You can have more or less keyboards depending on the type of organ that there is. 3 is usually what they have, though. This middle keyboard is called the grate, and it is where they play the loudest sounds. This top keyboard is called the swell, and this bottom keyboard is called the choir or the positif. That's just a fancy name. You can see also along these keyboards that we have these little buttons right here. These are called pistons. These pistons allow the organ player to change sounds without having to push a whole bunch of buttons on the side. So you can easily just click a button and change the sound. A lot of these pistons are preset, meaning organists take a long time to really preset all of these, making sure that each one sounds exactly the way they want it. All right, you ready to turn it on? That's it. That's it, and it's on. Before we get to playing, let's take a second to talk about the pedal board. As you can see, I'm not wearing any shoes. That's because they require special shoes in order to play the pipe organ. I don't have them, so socks will work just fine. The pipe organ pedal board looks just like a piano. It has white keys and black keys. You can play the keys just like I'm doing, tapping, or you can walk your feet along the keys like this. Also down here are more pistons that you can hit with your foot, and 3 different boxes, the swell shades, a crescendo button, and the grate pedal button. This controls how much volume you hear from each of these things. All right, now that you've had a chance to look at the pedal board and the keyboard, and we've got the organ all turned on, I'm gonna start playing some sounds for you. But let me explain to you what these buttons do. Up here, it tells you which keyboard these buttons work for. So this works on the grate keyboard. The numbers tell you how many feet long the pipe would be if there was a real pipe. Yes, there really are 16-foot long pipes. Then the name of what sound you want to play will be up here. For example, Spitzflute is just a fancy German name for flute. You might notice that a lot of these names are actually in German. That's because most organ names are either in German or Italian. So let's play a couple. Here's what an octave 4-foot sounds like. Push the top button to turn it off. Let's hear a Spitzflute. Super octave. Cute. Mixture. If you notice, a mixture sounds more than one type of pipe at the same time. The tremulant and chimes are actually not a pipe. As you can see, there's no number. This acts on one of these, kind of like a pedal on a piano. So let me play an octave by itself. And now I'm going to add the tremulant. Do you hear the difference? Let me show you what it sounds like when you put more than one together. See how it has a much bigger sound? Let's try a diapason. These are a little bit lower. When you mix lower sounds and higher sounds together, you get a big sound. Did you hear how loud that was? Now, instead of having to push all these buttons to turn them off, there's a really fun button on the organ called cancel. I'm going to hit this and I want you to watch all the lights turn off. So easy. Now let's take a second to look at the swell. The swell is the top keyboard. I'm going to be playing the same notes as I did for the great, except this time we're going to be listening to some different sounds. As you can tell by the names, they're different instruments. Let's listen to a trumpet. Kind of sounds a little bit like a trumpet. Now, one thing you might want to notice is that even though it says trumpet, it still sounds lower. And even though the keyboard is higher than this keyboard, than the great, it can sound lower too. That's because where the keyboard is does not mean it plays high or low. Let's listen to a viola. Some of you may recognize that word. Very nice and soft. We're back over to the right side of the organ, and we're going to be looking at the positif. The positif will be the lower keyboard, and remember, just because it's the lowest keyboard does not mean it plays the lowest. Let's look at principal. Very, very high. The really cool thing about a pipe organ, okay guys, finally we're going to be looking at the pedal. And for the pedal, I'm going to be playing the same notes I did before, except you might be noticing something about the pedal. It seems like there's a lot more higher notes, meaning they're much bigger pipes on the pedal. You would be correct. Let's play a small one. Okay. Now let's play a bigger one. Lower, and let's play an even lower one. And the lowest one on the organ. Now let's explain what these pistons do. If I were to push one of these buttons, a certain number of lights would turn on all across the organ. And if I were to hit any of these keys, a certain sound would be made. If I were to hit another piston, you can see that the lights change. That's because the organist for this church has already preset all of these pistons. All we have to do is hit cancel to turn them all off. To demonstrate what the organ sounds like, I'm going to be playing you a recording of the organist. On this pipe organ, there's a smart recorder, that box right there. It allows the organist to record himself playing, everything he does on the keys, all the pistons he pushes, and it records it. Then, when you hit play, it plays it back, using the pipes or the speakers in the room. So let's go ahead and push play.